So, shooting fireworks. Shooting fireworks is not a particularly difficult thing, but there are some ground rules that if you stick to these ground rules, your fireworks photographs will be fantastic. Now, you can do fireworks photography with any camera that has manual focus, manual settings, and also the ability to have long exposures. So that means that there are some applications for iPhone and cell phones in general that will do this. You can use your cell phone to take fireworks photographs. However, you're always better off with a camera that has the actual manual setting on the exposure dial. Okay, so let's get started. First things first, when you're taking fireworks photographs, I think the first thing you want to do is use a tripod because you do not want jiggly photographs. Because the fireworks themselves, when they bloom like the ones that you see right here, what happens is that if you're hand holding it, all those beautiful lines become very wiggly lines. So a tripod is necessary. There you go. There is one shot handheld. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it, but you can see some of the lines that should be straight lines are wiggly because of the motion of the photographer. Second, use manual mode for your exposure. Always use manual mode because that way you have total control over the exposure. So what you want to do is use a remote. That really helps too because if you use a remote, you're not actually touching the camera because if you touch the camera, there's a possibility that there'll be a little bit of a camera shake involved there. So do use a remote control. Frame your shot. Your point of view is very, very important when you're taking fireworks. Make sure that the fireworks doesn't happen behind trees or there aren't any other obstacles in the way that would upset your fireworks framing. Now, don't use your meter. Do not use your exposure meter because your exposure meter is totally fooled by fireworks. There's a black sky and your meter doesn't understand that that's exactly what you want, a black sky. It will try to expose for that black sky and it just won't turn out properly. All your fireworks will be overexposed. Even if there's color in your fireworks, there won't be any when you take the shot because you're overexposing and then everything will be white. There will be no color in it. Use time or bulb for your shutter speed. Now, some cameras do have time, but most all of them have bulb. So that means that if you press the shutter down, the shutter opens. If you release the shutter will close. That's bulb. For time, you press the shutter down, it stays open. Press it down again, and it'll shut. The best way to do this is to use the remote because on the remote, even if you only have bulb, one push will open it, another push will close it. So you can have that shutter speed duration to be as long as you want it to be. And that's very important when it comes to fireworks photographs. Keep the shutter open for the full bloom. So what you want to do is you want to watch when that little rocket goes up. You can see a little streak going up in the air. When it gets up to where you figure it's going to actually explode, that's where you open the shutter. And then if you keep the shutter open, you'll get that full bloom happening in your exposure. And that's the best way to get really fantastic fireworks exposures. So keep that in mind. Your shutter is simply going to be opening and allowing that to happen. It's not really controlling exposure anymore. So what's happening here is that you use aperture to get your exposure correct. With the aperture, you experiment. So the first couple of fireworks that happens, you do that long time exposure, let the fireworks happen, set your aperture for f8, f11, that's about right, and see if it's too bright. If it's too bright and you're not seeing the color, then change your aperture to f11 or f16 or whatever you need to change it to in order to get that nice color in your fireworks. That's very important. Now, time your shots. Like I was saying, most of the time when you're looking, you can see the people walking around with a punk, and they will be lighting the fireworks. So now you know something's going to be going up. If you don't see that because they're hidden, then what you're waiting for is that streak that goes up in the air, and you have to time it before it gets there. I usually shoot well before because that doesn't make much difference. The streak goes up and you know it's going to happen, so you just open the camera, let the bloom happen, and then you close the camera. Open the shutter, close the shutter. That's the way that you get some nice fireworks. Don't be afraid to experiment. Try different things. Some people will actually, knowing that there's going to be 3 or 4 fireworks happening, they will keep the shutter open and let 3 or 4 fireworks happen. And they say, well, won't that overexpose? No, it won't, because the fireworks is happening, and when it's over with, it's gone, and the next one will happen, and the next one will happen. So you'll get 3 or 4 bursts, one beside each other or one top on top of the other, and that works very, very nicely too. Mind you, if you only have 4 or 5 single explosions and fireworks bursts, then you can always put those together in Photoshop if you want something that has more bursts in it than you actually got. Okay, include in some cases the foreground. Sometimes when you include the foreground, it gives some perspective to the fireworks. It gives it some scale as well. So sometimes you can include some of the crowd or some of the buildings in the foreground. But don't be afraid to try that. It's a good idea to give it a shot, and you'll be surprised by how nicely it works out.
Leo, come on over. I hope come here with me. Leo, I need my help. Do we know where Frank is? Come here with me. Frank is right here by fire. Okay, it's okay, Bentley. Beautiful.
I hope he's keeping track of like which ones were good.
Becky?
So it's important not to forget to shoot video as well, because that can give you some really, really fantastic images. Please, if you're on YouTube, make sure you give me a like and a subscribe. I appreciate both those things. And hopefully you'll come back in the future and we'll have more guests available. So with that, I'm going to say good night. Thank you everybody for attending, and we'll see you next week if you can make it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, George. That was good. Very interesting.
Thanks, George. Thanks for your time.
Yep. Thanks, Brian. Okay, and we will
See
call
you
it a
next
night.
week.
Let's see. It's a night.
Yeah.
Are you still with me, Brian? You